What you need in the building? How's everybody doing? We're going to talk about change starting with us. All right. So, a lot of people expect a lot from their governments, from the people who govern them. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, um, there are things that legislature cannot provide for. Okay, the legislature will not provide for us caring for one another and showing concern and common decency. That comes from us being raised a certain way. The morals that we are taught in our homes or in our communities. As such, there is only so much that a governance or a government can do for you and me. We have to, in our communities, set the tone of the culture we want. That is why I appreciate country folk. Country folk, a lot of people say they're simple and so on, but country folk care for one another. If you tell a country folk that you have a need or you speaking about a need, they will offer to help you. Southern hospitality, we like to call it. The United States, they call it that. In my country, we call it, you know, sweetness. So anyway, at the end of the day, we need to communicate with one another to build, to be able to bind together. You have to mix. So that's the first thing. And the second thing I just want to say is we got to care for one another. That fundamental principle, not just care about ourselves and what we're doing and what our families are doing, but we have to care for the other person, especially somebody who's in need. And you realize that. And have a couple of relationships with different people. A lot of people are not very social. I understand there's there's an atmosphere in the world today where it's very dangerous. There are a lot of dangerous people out there. But that should not stop you and make you afraid to reach out, to speak out with different people. And if you're not a very social person, then just start with one person at a time. And you don't have to speak to complete strangers. Maybe it's call your friend who you haven't called in a long time. Call, speak to your neighbors, go outside and say hello, good morning. Just simple things. Start it off. Start interfacing and interacting. Because what makes people go down certain paths of hate is because they're not familiar with other people. Generally speaking, we don't understand the culture people are raised in, the backgrounds people come from. And as a result of that, we tend to label them from a distance. We stereotype them. But when we get to know them as individuals and as people like ourselves, we tend to have a different sort of picture of them. And all our assumptions about them changes. So what we need to do as people is get to know the people around us, especially the people who people label as a menace to society or even bad. Get to know them. And that's strange to say because you don't want to associate yourself with criminals and stuff like that. But there are a lot of good people in places that are considered bad areas. Believe you me, people just like you and me. So I just want to lend that out there that we try and just come out of comfort zone a little bit and reach and reach and reach. I'll try to do it today. I challenge you to do the same. All right, guys, have a good one. What you need in the building.